Separatism. When you forcefully relocate into a new area, sometimes you meet the locals, which are not too happy that they now live in Majapahit. Really? Why are we playing as them again? Anyway, why are you guys complaining? You paid taxes before and you get to keep paying them. Oh, never mind, sorry. As of this month, that information is no longer accurate. I have got news that our wise and glorious leader has packed up all of his bags, became Congolese, and will now be governing from the Congo. Please prepare your tax shipment. Never mind, apparently the capital was relocated only for a mission, whatever that means. And it has come to my attention that we are now formed the mighty kingdom of Morocco, our true destiny, and hence will be governed by Cairo. We are now the Mamluks. Yes, and we produce clothes in our capital. Of course, naturally, I see. Please pay your taxes to Vienna? Really? We are now Austria. Well, that may be confusing, but at least we're still... Oh, wait. Yeah, I see we've been animist for the last 3 months. My bad. Never mind, we have only done that so we can become Tengri. I see. Also, while I was talking, we did form Poland and pop another mission. So any of you that happen to live on a grain province, I'm afraid you're going to have to work 15% harder for the next 20 years. Oh, and now we are Prussia. For their ideas? Oh, and speaking of the wise and glorious leader, I'm proud to announce we now live in a theocracy. You know what? Honestly, fair enough. When is the next separatist revolt? I cannot live like this. Okay, so sorry about the last narrator. He, as well as 16,999 other colleagues, took a short, unplanned vacation. But following their departure, they have all unanimously decided that they all wish to be pursuing different career opportunities. Wish them the best in their professional life and hope to work with them in the future. However unlikely that may end up being. Anyway, the capital, otherwise known as the place you should pay your taxes to, is of course Rome, as this is the great Roman Empire. And if you have any questions, make sure to ask your local Senate representative, since we are of course a republic. On that note, I am off to pray to Tengri, and if you don't join me, our 157.25% disciplined Wind Hussars, riding an elephant, will be more than happy to assist you. Right, okay, so I got slightly sidetracked here, but my point being is, given what I put the citizens of my country through, I'm not too surprised when any new territory I conquer is sad at me with this whole separatism thing. So, let's address it, and given the main option we have for doing so, today we'll be doing it in the most normal way possible. So, minimizing the tag switches and other fun activities like changing religions to a complete bare minimum. With that said and done, let's talk disclaimers. We need to get our Years of Separatism to -30, as that is the default amount of separatism gained when a new province is conquered. And going above that +30 makes no sense, it is entirely pointless, as negative separatism reduction doesn't give us unrest reduction. Since we're going for playability in mind, we are going for minimal formable shenanigans, minimum religion shenanigans, and things like that. But outside of that mini disclaimer, the usual stuff will continue to apply. Ironman compatibility, achievement compatibility, and no customations. Let's go. So here we are in EU4, just the one counter day, Years of Separatism. Due to the many sources of separatism as previously mentioned, we'll only be looking at permanent reduction of separatism. I'm not even sure if temporary separatism exists. I mean, it sounds like something that should, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Regardless, that does mean there's one nice simple counter for me. But that does still mean there's 2 counters for you. The like button counter and the sub button counter. And if you want to increase those, it'll be massively appreciated. But with all that being said and done, let's get into the video proper. Now, any video talking about Years of Separatism reduction is going to be unjust if it does not mention Bohemia. Now, Bohemia has a lot of things going for it. If you don't know what I mean, they have a rather concise mission tree, but a rather cool one at that. You gain restorations of unions on people around you, you have some unique Hussite mechanics that you deal with throughout your missions, and you get rewarded with it with some powerful end of the game buffs. The other thing to bear in mind with Bohemia is it's not a formable, but it's also not an end tag, meaning that if you start as Bohemia, you're able to pick up those buffs and keep them. However, it's not something you can form on a pit stop. If you haven't done a Bohemia campaign yourself, and you are looking for something to play in Germany, I would strongly recommend it. It is quite a powerful country compared to its neighbours, but it doesn't start as one of the major powers, such as Austria or the Ottomans, so there is still a bit of an early game challenge to it. If you do decide to play Bohemia, you're rewarded with a couple things. The first thing is the reason we're mentioning it in any modifier stacking video that includes Years of Separatism, because you get peace in Europe until the end of the game, giving you -5 years of separatism as well as a monarch dip skill +1, again until the end of the game. Now, this is not the only thing you can get out of Bohemia. You also get access to Bohemian Commonwealth, and this is the reason quite a few people also start as Bohemia, as Bohemian Commonwealth gives you access to minus 15 dip annexation costs until the end of the game as well, allowing you to stack dip annexation costs to new heights if you really want to be annexing things for free. Of course, you can't actually annex things for free, it's capped like most things in Paradox modifiers, but it's there and it helps you get there. Furthermore, just to really seal off the deal for playing Bohemia, you're able to pick up another 10% production efficiency until the end of the game. Is it a powerful economic modifier? No, it's decent, to be honest. I mean, saying it's better than decent is disingenuous. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's not going to save your economy if it's doing badly, but it's always a nice thing to add to the side as well. Regardless, it's the end of the game, and I think it's worth mentioning. So there you go, Bohemia has your minus 5 years of separatism, but we're not going to be calling Bohemia today, as it technically means that we're restricting ourselves to one start, and we won't be. Now, another thing that I must mention in a video that talks about years of separatism reduction is Croatia. Now, Croatia is already somewhat well known in the community of people that do try-hard world conquests, as Croatia has access to minus 5 years of separatism until the end of the game, and has had access to it for quite a while. Quite a few patches have included it. The thing is with Croatia that makes it so nice is that it's both not an end tag, meaning that you can form other countries after forming Croatia, and it's also an actual formable, meaning that you can go ahead and form Croatia as a pit stop when you're doing any of your normal runs. The other nice thing with Croatia is the actual mission to get the minus 5 years of separatism, expel the Italians, is quite simple to get to. You need to, well, expel the Italians out of the Balkans. Not the most difficult task compared to some of the other things you will need to be doing. And with that, you'll be able to pick up minus 5 years of separatism until the end of the game, which is, again, quite a nice thing to have, and helps most of your challenge runs if you are going for a big world conquest. I would genuinely recommend making a pit stop in Croatia if you're in the mood of tag switching anyway, but I can understand that it's not the most necessary tag switch as something like Sardinia Piedmont, which gives you access to 5% admin efficiency, or things of that level. Now, for our final pit stop before we get to the actual video, and this is something that absolutely deserves a mention as one of the newer contents, and certainly a rather interesting way of playing the game, is of course Arabia. Arabia got an entirely new set of reworked ideas in the last DLC, and as part of it, it includes a minus 10 years of separatism reduction in its opening ideas. This is only matched by the French revolutionary ideas, which includes minus 10 years of separatism in that. However, revolutionary France does require you to be, well, revolutionary, meaning that you're locked into using those minus 10 years of separatism near the very end of your campaign. Arabia does normally require admin tech 20, but that still leaves you with 12 admin techs to, well, use your minus 10 years of separatism. Furthermore, it's also able to be performed through the use of some missions before admin tech 20, meaning that you're able to use this minus 10 years of separatism much earlier than normal. While the ideas are certainly not that great from a multiplayer point of view, or just being generally good from a build up your country economically or other things like that, they do still make up for it by having some things that are quite useful for an actual world conquest. Namely, you get access to minus 10 war score against other religions, which you can make stronger through your missions, and you get access to missionaries from the new Caliphate Rising, which is quite nice if you're going for something like a One Faith, and naturally combos quite well with the 3 missionary strengths from Spread the Word, and 2 tons of the Truth Airs from your opening ideas. It also means that if you want to use cavalry in your world conquest, you're welcome to do so with the Arabian Horseman tactics, giving you access to both cavalry combat ability and cavalry to infantry ratio, meaning that you'll need to pick up 25% more cav to infantry ratio to be able to use cavalry, well, in 100% of your armies. But that's Arabia, and it's something to bear in mind if you want to experience a run with your years of separatism reduction stacked to minus 30, as this minus 10 gets you a large part of the way there. But enough talking about this. If I'm not including Arabia into the ultimate stacking of getting to 30, how do I propose I get there in an easier fashion? Well, remarkably again, it's quite easy. For this, I would suggest Mongolia, because Mongolia begins with minus 5 years of separatism. There are a couple other countries that also have minus 5 years of separatism, but Mongolia is unique in the way that it starts with it right away. So there's no modifier stacking you need to get your minus 5 years of separatism. You're also able to get this minus 5 years of separatism with other hordes, but I'm just going to use Mongolia for this example, and this is where our modifier stacking begins in earnest. Players Mongolia for your minus 5 years of separatism right off the bat. Another minus 5 years of separatism is going to be gained from the fact that you are, well, a horde, or a steppe nomad. This is going to give you, among other things, another minus 5 years of separatism, which is going to bring our counter up to already minus 10. And this is before we unpause the game. Well, in my case, I've done a bit of setup, of course, as you can probably tell by the background, but if you just load into Mongolia right now, you'll start with minus 10 years of separatism, meaning that you're going to get 20 years of separatism when you conquer a province, with nothing else taken. But we are going to be taking a couple things. Namely, we're going to need 4 idea groups. Now, if you want to include Croatia, or you want to start as Bohemia and then go and form into Mongolia, you're able to do so as well and avoid 2 of the final idea groups. So it's technically possible with just 2 idea groups and a pit stop in Croatia or Bohemia, or if your ruler is a conqueror or any other source of -5 years of separatism. I'm going to, however, include a -5 years of separatism from an extra policy that requires 2 extra ideas, so it's technically going to require admin 14. However, if you're conquering the world before admin tech 14, I'll be honest, you probably don't need this video anyway. With that said, go ahead and open Humanist, as this will give us access to indirect rule for -10 years of separatism on the second idea, taking us all the way to -20 already. Then you need to go ahead and grab Offensive for a Humanist offensive policy. After this, I would recommend, and don't laugh, Religious, and yes, running both Religious and Humanist. We'll be able to convert the provinces we want, and we'll be able to tolerate the ones we don't convert. And finally, Horde, as this gives us access to 2 policies with Offensive, Horde, and Religious. Namely, this one for -5 years of separatism and some missionary strength for the provinces that you do want to convert, and the Liberation Act for -5 years of separatism and -1 unrest as well, to again help with this whole separatism situation. And with that, you'll be able to get -10 years of separatism from your policies, -10 from your ideas, and most crucially, -10 from the government reform and the opening idea, meaning that your years of separatism is reduced by 30, meaning at this point, for any province to conquer, you do not gain any new separatism. Furthermore, since you play in Mongolia, you probably want to go ahead and restore the Mongol Empire. So here I've formed Yuan so that I'm able to access the decision to restore the Roman Empire, make sure to not abandon our roots, and then go ahead and restore the Mongol Empire itself. This is going to abolish the steppe nomad government reform, but it's going to replace it with the Great Mongol State, which thankfully also includes -5 years of separatism, meaning that we don't lose our -30 stack and are able to maintain it forever. The Great Mongol State is a pure upgrade on top of the old steppe nomad government reform, so there's no reason to ever not take it. But either way, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.